What's up, everybody? It's your boy DB here. Today, we're going to take you on a journey that includes some Viking life, a journey that is spiritual in nature, a journey that takes you to all sorts of places all over the earth. Would you be interested? Then stay there. There's DB. And I'm about to take you behind the nonsense. So, as you can see, my beard is a little bit better groomed today. So, I heard a bunch of people, not a bunch, but a few people get on my YouTube channel and say, hey DB, why don't you give some shout outs to some people in the Etsy community that do their thing? So I thought, I've already done that. I've just never reviewed any. To be honest, a lot of the scents straight out the decant just don't smell all that well. They smell like where you get them from. So I came across this company. The name of the company is VALA'S Perfumery Enchanted Natural Ritual Perfume, and the name of this one is Thor. So in case you guys don't know, my former religion was something we call Asatru, which is a Viking religion. We believe in Odin, we believed in Thor, we believed in many other gods, and I studied that religion for 12 years. I can still write in runes. I have runes tattooed on the back of my arm. I have a rune tattooed here. This is the rune of Odin, that is O. I still write in that language. So I actually learned that in prison. I was studying the religion just shortly before I had gone to prison. I had gone to prison, and because of the Freedom of Religion Acts in Maryland, they couldn't hold us back from learning the religion. So and I do consider it a religion simply because I know what it's like. I've done it. I've read runes. I've given wine to the gods, and it was a very enjoyable religion. You had something to believe in, and also could kind of just do whatever you wanted. There were guidelines, but it's not as strict as being a Christian. So a little bit about my background. So for 12 years, I was an Asatru believer. I still love the idea of Vikings. I've always had a fascination with Vikings. Before I became a skinhead, I always had a fascination with war, but I've always had that fascination with Adolf Hitler simply because of the madman he was. Not the killing of Jews. I do not condone it. Just how he made himself out to be such a warrior, when in all reality, he's a wuss like every other dictator ever was. Anyhow, let's get off of that. Let's get back into what I'm here for. So I want to introduce you to this, guys. I'm not going to lie. I paid a steep price for this. So when the price will come into how I feel about the fragrance itself. I got this from a really far country. I'm not lying. I can't remember what country I have, but it's definitely a European country that it came from. If the name comes to me off the top of my mind, then I will absolutely let you guys know. But it's right on the tip of my tongue. As soon as I come out with it, I'll let you guys know. I know it's been in the news with the Bidens. The country has been in the news with how they've gone to this country and become such wicked people. And anyhow, so I want to get into this. So it gave me about an hour-ish, I'll say an hour and a half projection. I did not care for the projection. To me, it had a very cheap Dollar General incense type smell to it. Maybe that's what it's supposed to smell like. I don't know. I've never been a part of any perfume that calls themselves natural spiritual. It didn't do anything for me on the spiritual side, guys. I got to be honest. Even I tried to put myself back into how I feel about my former religion and see if that kind of conjured anything, and I just didn't feel like it made me think of anything. Didn't bring back memories of how I feel about Thor and Odin and some of the stories from the Poetic Edda. It just really didn't do that for me. It was a very cheap, very, very, very cheap. And if I'm not mistaken, I paid $35 for two of them. I have Thor and I have Odin, and they are probably 2 ml dabbers. They're not even sprays, they're just dabbers. That was shipping and all. So I don't find that cheap in price, but to me, even if I didn't pay that much, even if it was even $1 for it, it just smelled cheap off the beginning. So now the dry down, which is still on, is a whole different ball game. It kind of keeps the same smell, but it's more died down and toned. It didn't smell so cheap. So off the projection, I give the projection a 2 out of 10. Like literally, it was very, the oil content in it is good. I've seen it shimmer off of my skin. So it gave me close to 8 hours longevity. It's still there. I got to put my nose way up to it. But anyway, the dry down gave me like a leathery, if I was to put it in a Viking term, I can imagine a Viking on the ship with his swords at the ready with all of their leather on. I mean, that's just kind of how it smelled to me. I mean, I could put myself in that kind of a situation. That did kind of bring out a little bit of nomadic presence, if you will. Contrary to popular belief, Vikings weren't as awful of a people as everybody made them out to be. They said they raped and pillaged. That's really not the truth. Vikings didn't believe in rape or anything like that. If they would kill the husbands and they would take the women of whatever country they won, and they made them sort of like maids or indentured servants and made them raise their kids and help out with chores while the women went out in the field, took care of crops, and the men did the slaughtering and the conquering. So don't get your history mixed up with Vikings. They were barbaric in the way they fought, most definitely. When they took a town, they took it with no vengeance. So it did kind of catch on to that nuance, that Viking smell in the dry down. Just the dry down doesn't last long. The dry down like steeply faded the whole entire time. I thought it was going to stay strong for the first 2 hours. It was. So about 3.5 hours you had the projection, and about 2 hours of a nice dry down, and just started literally going downhill from there. So, but still 7-ish hours isn't all that bad for the fragrance. It's just not something that I would see me wearing and say to myself, this is so manly. And I wouldn't think anybody would want to compliment on something like this. It's just something that you smelled in a cheap tobacco shop. Even if you go into the tobacco shops and they got those incense in there, it just smells like that. Kind of like a cinnamon Christmas wreath type vibe, even though it don't have cinnamon in it. You get what I'm trying to say. It just smells cheap and synthetic. So I wanted to give this a thorough review. I'm sorry if I dragged on too long. This is not for me. I don't know if they sell full bottles, but I will not purchase a full bottle of this one. Anyhow, the Odin one I will save for my next time off. Tomorrow I'll be doing something else. So appreciate you guys giving me 10 minutes of your time. Hey, I'm growing in subscribers, guys. Love y'all. The word's evidently getting out, man, that it's the place to come if you want any fragrance to get a real review. This is one of the few places to come where people are going to tell you the truth. DB won't hold back. So, hey, this is DB, and I just took you behind the nonsense. Enjoy.